Hey, happy holidays, football fans. It is another episode of the Giants Guys. And I usually like to start off by saying something ridiculous like it's the podcast you love to hate. But with all those great, kind things that you guys have said about us over the last couple of weeks have been fantastic. Warms my heart to know that we're kicking out some great content to you guys. And you guys have been responding to everything we do. And I have to thank each and every one of you for spending your time with us, whether you're walking the dog and you're listening to Spotify or Amazon Music, or you're cranking it up right here on YouTube or Twitter with us. I want to thank you. The Giants Guys are brought to you by Astroflave. Right there, I am repping out the Astroflave shirt. You guys should again, I know you guys work out like crazy, right? You're looking for a meal replacement. You're looking for some kind of protein. You're looking for some kind of, shake that doesn't taste like chalk from the teacher's chalkboard. Look, this stuff is the real deal. Jersey Strong, 5 locations. Here you go. Look, this is one of Chris Nails' favorites, cookies and cream. This stuff is insane, okay? They sent me a bunch of these tubs. I gave a couple away. If you look on my timeline, you will see a couple of these tubs showing up, and this is a $50 tub. This is showing up at Giants Guys and Giants Rush fans everywhere because I'm sending them out to you guys because I like you guys. Now, so thank you. If you support us, please support the Astroflave folks. Follow them and check out what they have. It's not just for guys. It's amino acids. It's collagen. It's all that great stuff. Lots of football to talk about. Thanks for tuning in again. We are the Giants Guys. I'm going to bring in the cats that you love to talk to. And that is, I've got Nails. Here comes Chris. Boom.
Hey, Craig. Hey, Craig. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, baby. It is happy holidays. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. Let's get in. Spartan Mike.
Guys,
Boom.
What is going on?
Dude, we haven't seen you in so long. We forgot what you look like. So we appreciate that you were here.
Mm-hmm.
You've been hanging out with Nikki, producing the Rush Hour stuff, which is awesome. Well, we're glad you're with us because, one, is we got a big game coming up. Two, I think the Giants might have just played the best game they've had all year, maybe. And there's some things to talk about that, maybe the national media is not covering.
Definitely.
All right, good.
I think that would be a fair assessment of the state. I mean, look, we just came off a very well-played game. A lot of mistakes, obviously. They were very frustrating that caused us to lose. But we also have our biggest, game in the last 6 years coming up. I know we've been saying that almost every week, but this one's actually winning in for the playoffs, and we have not been in this situation in a very long time.
Yeah. Feels pretty good, though. I mean, at this time last year, we were running quarterback sneaks from our own 5-yard line. I mean,
yes.
This is
mountains better than last year.
What's that?
We're mountains better than last year.
Mountains. That is a very.
And we're still not even that good. I mean, that was bad last year.
Yeah, that is an accurate statement. I'm just tweeting out to everybody to come join us because I want to make sure I get everybody in the house. I see a bunch of you guys piling in the room now, so thank you for tuning in. The Giants Guys are live. Come join us. Bam.
Real Cold G, Mark, Tudo. We got all the guys in the house.
All right,
appreciate all you guys always coming through. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah. I hope you guys all had a great time with your friends and family. I have still not given my Christmas presents or holiday gifts to the team, so we're going to do that. So let's start off the show, gentlemen, with what we always start off with: top 10 things that you did not know about your 22 New York Giants. This one comes compliments of Nails over there because he sent me this today, and it wasn't great, but it's definitely eye-opening. Okay, top 10 things. Let's start off with number 1. Since the merger of the leagues, which we know is a long time ago, there have been 6 games, okay? Remember what I'm saying here. There have only been 6 games, okay, decided with a 61-plus yard field goal, okay? 3 of those 6 are against the Giants. That is freaking amazing, okay?
And I remember
a lot of pain there.
Single one of them.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so just think about it. 70 years in the league, 75 years in the league, there's 6 games that have been decided by a 61-yard plus field goal, and 3 of them against the Giants. Okay, number
Look at us
2.
just holding records. Don't we love that?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Number 2 things that you might not know about your 22 New York Giants is that Saquon Barkley has the 3rd best 20-yard plus explosive plays, only behind Chubb and Henry. So for all you guys that are just like, hey, man, he doesn't have enough explosive plays. Okay, he's 3rd in the league with explosive plays of 20-plus yard runs. So, and Mr. Barkley made himself another Pro Bowl, which is awesome. I really love the way he ran the ball the last 2 weeks, and I'm glad to see him healthy and make it through an entire season. Number 3, things that you might not know about your 22 New York Giants. It's a double dip here, folks. Barkley's also the number 3 rushing attempts, okay, with 283 rushes, only behind Henry and Jacobs. The reason why I bring that up is sometimes, your back gets a lot of carries. He gets worn down. He gets hurt. He gets dinged up. For a guy with 283 carries, he is relatively healthy. So we know that, those injuries seem to be behind him. So not only is he, a Pro Bowl player, not only does he have these explosive runs, but he is getting the carries. They're not just home run, hits. He's actually running 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust, which is what we wanted, right? We wanted the guy to drop his shoulder and grind a little bit, and that's what we're getting. Number 4, things that you might not know about your 22 New York Giants is Dexter Lawrence has 5+ tackles in 9 games, okay? That's 63 tackles and 6.5 sacks, his best career year to date. That's an impressive number right there because we think about defensive tackles, they get 2-3, tackles because the linebackers, usually scrape and clean everything up. This guy has gotten basically 9 games. He's got 5+ tackles. That's absurd for a guy that's 350 pounds, okay, and 6.5 sacks. So he is having a monster year. Another, clap for the Pro Bowler. Great to see you guys out there voting for Dexter Lawrence. Now I mangle this dude's name all the time, and it's not very hard to say. I don't really know why I mangle it, but Isaiah Hodgins, right? Hodgins. Okay. Ready? And this, by the way, might be my favorite one. So this is number 5. So Isaiah Hodgins, through 6 games, has 350 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Guess what? I do the drum roll thing, but Chris, give me the drum roll. All right. Kadarius Toney only has 82 yards and 2 touchdowns over the same span of time. So it looks like, that actually GM Joe knows what he's talking about. So all you guys that ran off the short pier and dove into the ocean, I think we're okay. Not that we don't need wide receivers. I'm just making a point that, pull a guy off the Buffalo scrap heap and the guy's balling. Number 6 things that you might not know about your 22 New York Giants is that Daniel Jones has, okay, and bear with me here a little bit. If you're not an NFL fan and only a Giants fan, some of these names might not ring a bell to you. But if you are an NFL fan, these names will ring a bell. Daniel Jones has more rushing yards than these NFL backs. Latavius Murray at Denver, Cam Akers from the Rams, Antonio Gibson from the Commanders, which we just saw like 2 out of the last 3 weeks, Taysom Hill, the big quarterback / running back for the Saints, Kareem Hunt on the Browns, where his career has just died, and DeAndre Swift from the Lions. So Daniel Jones has more rushing yards than those 6 NFL starting running backs. And I should say change of pace backs. They're not all starting running backs. Number 7, Leonard Williams missed 4 games this year with an injury, and he's only 14 tackles away from his total in 2020, which he played every game. So think about that from a standpoint of
and that was a Pro Bowl year for him.
And a Pro Bowl year for him. So Pro Bowl year Spartan on those 11.5 sacks, no doubt about it. But he had 57 tackles in 2020, right? So he's only 14 away. So he's relatively going to benchmark himself at the same amount of production, 3 years in a row. Okay, 50 plus tackles, 80 tackles last year, and then another 50 spot, 60 spot this year. Leonard Williams has definitely just been a really consistent, good player. And I wanted to bring that to your attention. Now, if you want to crunch that down to his healthy games, he has had 34 tackles since Halloween. This is a defensive tackle we're talking about. As I just mentioned to you about Leonard Williams, Dexter, is these guys usually don't have a ton of tackles, right? Now the Giants have Ojulari and Tibbs, and these other guys are on the outside edge. But so he's got 34 tackles since Halloween. That's 6 tackles a game. That's pretty impressive. Number 8 things that you might not know about your 22 New York Giants, and this one might be my second favorite, is that Richie James has been in the NFL since 2018. This past weekend, he had 8 receptions for 90 yards. Since 2018, this was his second best, most productive game in his career. Now, you want to say to me, well, what was his most productive year? In 2020, against a loss to Green Bay, he had 9 catches for 184 yards. Balled out completely, okay? But never did it again. Never did it before, never did it after. So this past week was literally the second best game of his career. And he had a 33, yard catch and reception. So that is pretty cool for Richie James. To have your second best game, maybe it's not saying a lot, but it does tell me that what Jones is, how he's elevating the play of these guys. Number 9 things that you might not know about your 22 New York Giants is Daniel Jones has had 8 300-yard passing games in his career, 5 in 2019, 1 in 2021, and 2 in 2022. And last but not least, he's my new favorite player. Julian Love has 120 tackles. That is doubling his total in any other year that he has played. He's usually a 60 tackle guy. He has doubled the amount of tackles this year than all his prior years as a Giant. He's also ranked number 17th in the NFL for tackles. He is also ranked number 2 in safeties for tackles. The only guy that's got more tackles than him is
most safeties don't put up those numbers. It's usually linebackers, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Last time someone in the Giants did it was Antrell Roll. So the only guy in the NFL who has more tackles as a safety to him is Petrie. Okay, and that's only so there's only one safety above him. So think about this: he's ranked 17th. So 15 of those 17 are linebackers. That's how good of a season Julian Love did and got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. Because if he's number 2 in tackles, okay, he doesn't have a ton of picks, okay. But this dude has been a machine. Open field, coming up and playing in the box. The guy's had a wonderful year. I'm so glad he's a captain. And that, my friends, would be your 10 things that you don't know about your 22 New York Giants. Whew, I'm out of breath. Guys, let's talk football. Let's pump this up here, because what do we do at this time? Rant and rave. Spartan, give me a rant, give me a rave about our Viking game, and speak the truth, my friend.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one rant I want to get off my shoulder is the fact that we gave up another 61-yard field goal to lose the game. I mean, it's just a very frustrating stat to lead the entire NFL in. I mean, what are the odds that it's the Giants 3 times of all those teams, and we remember those all vividly. They're all painful. But I will say this, we would have gone to overtime if we missed the field goal. It wasn't to win the game. And, if we went to overtime, I mean, what are the odds that we would have won? It would have been pretty challenging anyway. So it's very tough to find that many things to rant about. I'll give you one more. The one thing that is especially frustrating to me is that, we get closer to the red zone, and then we've had issues actually converting, getting across the 50-yard line and making those touchdowns. right? There were 2 instances where we got penalties that knocked us backwards. There were 2 instances where we had dropped passes. And then there were a few times where, you had terrible play calls and play sequencing by Kafka, in my opinion. And that's the one thing. I want them to get to the red zone. I want them to get past the 50-yard line and get touchdowns, not settle for field goals, because that's what we're going to need to really blow teams away.
That is the truth, my friend. That is the truth, because
I have to say something nice. I almost forgot.
Yes. Say something nice.
Props to everybody. Props to Jones. He had a great game, best game of the year. Props to the wide receivers. They stepped up. A couple drop balls, obviously. Props to the defense. Minnesota's offense is obviously very highly productive, and they did a fantastic job of relatively containing those guys.
Well, that was pretty easy. Okay, so Chris, handing this to you. You know how the game is played. Give me a rant. Give me a rave.
Yeah, the rant I have is it's never a good time to make mistakes, right? But the mistakes that were made on Saturday were just really the worst times. The Bellinger fumble, right? The Giants are coming down the field. They're probably going to tie the game up at that point, hopefully, and they're going to get into the red zone. So that Bellinger fumble, that was key. The James non-catch for the first down, that was big, right? James got to catch that ball. He had a great game, but that was very Evan Engram-like, right? Big situation. Dropping the ball, and that's what we're used to seeing from Engram. So if you're on the field, you're starting. We expect these catches, even if it is Richie James.
Right.
The block punt, right? Bad situation. Casey Kreider, the center, got basically scraped by and blew right past the center protection. And never a good time to get a punt, but down in our own red zone, right? That was even a worse time. They're playing with 20 yards right there, or maybe it was 10 yards. So that's my rant. Rave. Giants played a tough Sunday night game against Washington. Minnesota played the day before on a Saturday. They had the whole, extra couple days. And the Giants on a short week went to Minnesota and they played their guts out. They played tough. They could have packed it in when they were down and they were able to tie it up. So give them a lot of credit for the resilience and fight in that game.
I love it.
That they could have pulled it out in the end.
I'm going to rip through some of these questions real fast. See who's in here. What's up, Mark? I see you. What's up, Jay? I'm looking for something. There was a question in here that I want. What's up, Tuto? Where was this one? You guys are all swapping hellos and happy holidays. What? Oh, here it is. What Mike's opinion on Jan? Jay. I'll put this up here. We will get to Mike's opinion on Daniel Jones very shortly, so do not jump the gun. This one here needs Xavier. I don't know. We'll talk about that a little bit. Me and Nails had a conversation earlier in the week about that. Thank you. You love the show. We love you. Yes, Crowder is gone. Thank the Lord. Love my Steelers for getting rid of that dead weight. Yes, Allie from Cali, Julian Love is the bomb. What else in here? What's up? Hello. Happy holidays, New Year's. Here we go. Yeah, I'm not. Jay's on fire today. He's got all the right questions. So guys, yes, everything that you said. Like you said, the Bellinger fumble, I don't know, just the timing, right? The timing. Yeah. Of these penalties and these mistakes, no doubt about it. But guys, I just kept coming back to that. And if you're old enough to remember the 2007 Giants, last game of the season, they played the Patriots at home, and it was supposed to be Randy Moss was going to go for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, they were unstoppable. They were undefeated. And they came in to MetLife, and the Giants punched him in the mouth and almost beat him. It was like 35-32, 38-35. Like,
which team?
The 2007 last game of the season.
Yeah, at Giant Stadium.
Yep. At Giant Stadium, yeah. So, they just came in and they put it down. They literally, one of the best, flawless played games I have seen the Giants play. This Viking game was somewhat similar. Everyone's like, oh, Jefferson's going for 3 touchdowns. All this stuff that didn't happen. This is a very scrappy team. They find ways to make things happen. And it literally, as you alluded to, Mike, it's basically with stick and glue, right? Because, there's a handful of guys that are kicking out, kicking their past their coverage, and then a bunch of guys just making some plays. Nobody dominating, kind of a thing. So I agree with all you guys, on the penalties, and all those mistakes that could have won us the game. But realistically, I'm still thinking, how good are we really? And they're playing to a higher level, right? They're playing.
I will say this. Can I say this? I do think this notion of the Giants not having talent, I don't necessarily agree with that. They do have some areas of serious holes on the team. Don't get me wrong. But if you actually look at the defensive side of the ball, it's pretty talented defense. But you see how, or how much Wink is getting out of our defensive players by putting them in positions to enable them to succeed. That's why we're seeing a little bit more out of our players this year than we did in prior years. And I mean, coaching has been absolutely huge and monumental. We have gaps on this team talent-wise, but we have a lot of guys that stepped up to the plate this year. And I can proudly say that we have talent on this team.
So that's a good segue to someone who had talent, then didn't have talent, and now evidently has talent again. So let's talk about this guy. Boom, Collins. So Collins is basically sitting on the bench for weeks on the practice squad. He can't get on the field, and Jalen Smith's not doing anything. Crowder's not doing anything. McFadden's not doing anything. Collins definitely just came in and created something, whether it's a locker room presence, whether it's an intimidation, whether it's smart play. But Chris and I were talking about it earlier in the week. He's making the plays that are necessary. First pass play to Hawkinson this past Christmas Eve. Who breaks up the pass? Collins. He's right there on the sideline, swatting the ball out of his hand. When you need to make a tackle, yes, he did make that that dive with the shoulder, thinking he was going to missile at him and take him out, and the guy jumped over him. But he's making tackles. He's coming in low. He's wrapping his arms. He's in the right place. So I was going to throw it to you guys. What do you think about Collins? Because again, Wink is giving now Collins an opportunity. He seems to be making the best of it. Chris, what do you think? What's your evaluation of Collins?
Up until last week, we were waiting for him to come on the 53 roster permanently, and we're all questioning, why isn't he on this roster? I get the feeling that this coaching staff gives every player the opportunity to shine. And I think Tay Crowder, they've seen enough at that point, and that's why I think Collins finally gets the playing time. And we see Carter Coughlin, right? He's not really playing much other than special teams. So I think it just was a matter of weeding through some of the guys they had to give them as much opportunity as possible. And when they made the decision, that was it, over. It's time for Collins now to see what he can do. And you know what? I think he did everything we all expected. A very good tackler. Not somebody you want to see too far down the field in coverage, but hey, he did a great job covering, like you said, Hawkinson on that little fade towards the sideline. Great play. So, really and I think coming in the box, he's going to be probably the best guy coming in the box of all the linebackers we have.
Yeah, he's not afraid to bang. And again, we know he's not and Jay was saying that how he's still rated as an elite run stopper because he tackles. He doesn't do this whole Jalen Smith hugging you up top, getting run over for 4 extra yards. Collins actually is a phenomenal tackler. Yes, he blew a play where he launched himself at a guy throwing he was going to make a big highlight reel, and he totally whiffed. But 8 out of 10 times that cat's going to come down in the thigh pad, push through, wrap, roll, take him down. And I really appreciate the fact that he's there. He'll probably be good. Maybe he'll rub off on McFadden a little bit. You know what I mean? On his style of play, because McFadden plays up too high too. So, Spartan, what's your thoughts on Collins continuing to get more playing time?
It's working out well for the team. I suggest that he gets more time, more reps. I mean, he's definitely doing a very good job of executing his assignments, more so than the interior linebackers that we've had this season.
And they did sign him, Spartan, to the 53 this week.
Right.
So it kind of feels like they're happy with him, and I'm just laughing that he's been on the bench for 4 weeks. Spartan, why did it take so long?
Well, who knows? I mean, part of it might just be learning the defensive schemes and everything like that, right? I mean, you sign with the team, you do 2 hard practices, you do, the film room on Mondays, you do the walkthroughs. So I think that's part of it. And the other part of it is just that, he's a little rusty. He wasn't playing prior to this year. So it probably did take an actual legitimate amount of time for him to kind of build up and be that player that he was, but not not an extreme amount of time. I mean, it's been several weeks. He's gotten up to speed to some extent, and I think he's delivering value now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm right with you there.
And I think injuries played a role too. We brought that guy Zion Gilbert up from the practice squad. So I think he had to fill some spots in the secondary because we were so thin. So maybe that took a couple spots there.
And Mark, bring up Mark's point on there's a cap theory that Mark has. Bringing him up to 53 would have had a cap issue. That's something worth considering. I'm not exactly sure, but that sounds very likely to be the case.
Yeah, and I was going to kind of comment on something that Chris just said, that like we should have Carter Coughlin, but evidently they don't have any. In a pinch, Crowder don't tackle anybody, and Jalen Smith's getting rammed. He's holding on the guy for 10, 15 yards because he refuses to tackle anybody. Like Carter Coughlin's still more of a defensive end, but he can still play inside linebacker. So they must have no faith in him at all because he doesn't even get a rep.
No,
you know what I mean? So they bypassed Carter Coughlin, for Collins. So it's just an interesting play.
Yeah, and Collins only had one more move, right? He had been up twice, so this third time was going to be his last. So they had to obviously make sure that this was the real, the last one, and not make a mistake there because they couldn't move him anymore.
No, that's all true, and I'm glad he's back. I think he makes a difference. Let's talk, guys, about we were talking about elevating play, or Mike, you said value, right? You said he's got value right now. Let's talk about this. Let me pop this up here. Let's talk about value. So in the beginning of the year, and you've been tough on Jones, and that's fine. We like the fact that we don't always agree on everything. We're not that show.
Do you love that we don't always agree?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I hate to tell you, Spartan, we'd be boring as shit if we agreed on everything. So, okay, I know. Sorry,
we need
kids.
Flavor on the show. We need flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we need flavor. Exactly. Yeah. The host of the show just dropped a bad word. I apologize. But look, no, we don't always agree. But you may not believe this, but we're professionals. We get along. We're all friends. We're all part of a team. We don't always agree. And I know you don't know
tickets at face value. That's what we do.
Okay, so he's dropping in information that you people don't know. So that's going to be a reference. You're like, what is he talking about? So Chris and I came up with a scheme, a plan, right, Chris?
Yeah.
To get Spartan to come and go to the Colts game this weekend because it's the last game of the year. We're all having fun. There's a lot of momentum. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to offer Spartan my seats, and I'm going to go sit with Chris. So what we did was we talked him into flying out. Spartan's going to hook up with his dad, which you guys know on Twitter as the Senator. So you guys can make sure you follow the Senator. He's a good man. We basically talked Spartan into flying here. And which, by the way, is super cool. Just so if you want to know what he's talking about, I sold him my seats at face value instead of whatever they're going for. Yes. And he's going to sit in my seats, and then I'm going to go sit with Chris. But we're all going to hang together. So
Fred, thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for the parking pass. By the way, guys, what happened was I saw a flight, Frontier Airlines, midway to Philadelphia, and it was like $140 some odd dollars and perfect timing. And I just looked and said, you know what? I don't need that much luggage. I'm carrying my jersey to the airport. It would be great if I went to a football game. So threw it out there. Said, yeah, Craig, Chris, you know anybody selling tickets here? Let me know. And just like, done.
Awesome.
So me and my dad are going out to the Meadowlands. And hopefully this would be epic to watch with my dad, the Giants win and make the playoffs. Because that'll bring us back memories of what it used to be, man.
And for the record, that's what I did with my dad. And because I'm old and I look at Spartan with his dad, and I've met the Senator. He's a cool guy, so I'm glad that they're going to get a chance to hang out with each other. So
a lot of fun with that. A lot of fun.
Yeah,
we're going to have Chris's parking lot. That's what we're doing.
That's right. Unfortunately, it was the Detroit loss, but we're going to make it up for Sunday. We're going to make it up Sunday.
So Spartan, this is what I wanted to ask you. Like to digress a second, is this. So in the beginning of the year, everyone who either liked them or loved them, hated them, whatever, was how does how does this guy elevate anybody's play? He doesn't make anybody better. And then the other side of the fact is he doesn't have anybody to make better. You can't shine a turd, I think the word was that I heard people using, right? So I got to tell you, Spart, again, you know me. I like Jones, but I don't, I do realize he's got shortcomings like a lot of quarterbacks do, but I do not want to start over again, right? Because I think we're closer than we believe or we think we are. So Spartan, my question is, he is literally, I just read the stat to you. Since 2018, Richie James has only had one better game in his career, mostly special teams guy, so that comes into play. But eight receptions for 90 yards, 11.2 a catch, and 33 yards of the longest catch of the day. Hodgins out of nowhere, and he's also has a 90-yard day. Is Jones not making these guys better?
Jones is definitely making these guys better. One of the dumbest arguments I see of anybody who isn't convinced of Jones being the guy. There's two types of people. You're not convinced that he's the guy, or you think that he's weighing down the offense. If you think he's weighing down the offense, I mean that's truly one of the dumbest opinions you could possibly have. He's not doing that. He is elevating the wide receivers that we have on the roster. I remember especially with Eli Manning. Odell said that Eli was holding him back, but you look at the statistics of every wide receiver that ever played with Eli, then played with any other quarterback. Eli was the one elevating these wide receivers. It's the same thing with Daniel Jones. I mean, when he throws the ball is there. You can't argue that. Anytime there's a mistake, it's generally involved with the wide receiver dropping the football, right? So here we go. We got, Richie James, we got Hodgins. Previously, both with other teams, they didn't get a lot of playing time, as you said, and Danny Dimes is, making it rain with guys that are not very talented football players. Now, I will say this. The one thing I do love with these wide receivers is that because we're so short-staffed at wide receiver, they've actually gotten the opportunity themselves to improve because they're getting a lot of playing time they wouldn't have gotten before. And it's actually helped them a lot to get exposure to the game. And that's why both of them have improved throughout the season.
I got to put this up here because now I feel bad. Wah, wah, wah. Michael Stewart wishes he was there with us on Sunday.
We wish he was there with us too.
Of course, truth. We wish you were here. You got to get your butt up here, okay?
Mike, come on, let's go.
Let's go,
Mike. I'm looking for your Charlotte tickets right now. Here we go.
We are going to be doing shots of Fireball, and Michael Stewart needs to be there.
Drive us home.
Yeah, right, Chris. We are doing shots of Fireball, right?
We're going to do a couple things.
All right. Oh, he's not telling you what we're doing. We're doing a couple things.
I found this great espresso vodka for a little morning pick-me-up, so that'll be really nice at 9 a.m. Anybody that's going to be there, join us, please.
I'm not one.
New Year's Day.
I mean, I don't know. Some of you guys are new to the show. We've been doing this podcast for 3 years. Some of you may be new to the show. I don't like to throw guys under the bus. I don't make people uncomfortable that don't need to be uncomfortable. But I just want to let you know that Chris is talking about his espresso over there, which is fine. But the last time I hung out with Chris, he gave me like a watermelon seltzer. It was the worst thing I have ever.
I told you I'm a sucker for marketing. I'm not going to give a plug for Sonic.
Chris looks to me and goes, the packaging looks really good. Yeah.
It's terrible.
So if you have crap in a can, but you know how to use Photoshop and Illustrator, Chris will buy whatever you have. Okay, because if the packaging looks good, just send it to Nails. He's buying it.
And the sad part is I'm in sales, so I should know better, but I don't. So it makes it even worse.
Takes one to know one, man. Come on now.
That's right. There you go. Thank you,
Chris,
Mike. Yeah.
Chris, tell me what your thoughts are here on elevating the player James and Slayton and Hodgins.
Well, the funny part about Hodgins is, when he got released from Buffalo, he jumped right into the system without missing a beat because this is, part of Dable's system with Buffalo. So as soon as he got here, he was making plays and he runs great routes. He catches everything. So think about the trust, right? The trust that Jones has with him. And it seems like now he's grown into his go-to guy, whereas I felt like it was Slayton when Slayton got the playing time, but I feel like now it's more Hodgins is his guy. I think he trusts him a little more. James, listen, he was a special teamer with San Francisco, got some opportunities in some games there, and I think overall, other than a couple fumbles on a punt, a drop here and there, I mean, he's done well. He's serviceable. He plays hard, but I think Jones has made these guys better. And I think on the flip side, Hodgins, like that sideline catch, makes Jones look great too because he's catching everything.
Look, like
Yeah.
I think the one thing that's frustrating about James is more of like it's kind of like Evan Ingram the play in the sense that he can obviously make good plays a lot of the times, but I mean when you can't catch a ball consistently, that weighs down the team a lot. And he reminds me of those players that the Giants had, during the Gettleman era that sometimes showed flashes of greatness but never amounted to anything of consistency, and therefore we couldn't win games. So that's why I feel way more strongly about Hodgins than I do about Richie James.
Yeah.
Even if they had the same stat line at the end of the night.
I got to throw this up here because we didn't know this about Jay, and this is a cool story. I'm a sucker for a cool story. Check this out, folks. So Jay was born in Germany, came over here in '87 as a child, turned on the TV and saw a Giants game. Been a fan ever since. I have never met a Giants fan IRL. What's IRL? I really know. I don't know. Jay, what's IRL? I'm old. But yes, that is a very cool story that you come over here in real life. Thank you, Allison. They're all cool with their acronyms. Yeah, great story to be able to flip on the TV in
real life.
1957. What's that?
IRL is in real life.
Yeah, I just said that.
Sorry.
Jim, he's Chicago, people. He's on like delayed time. Jim,
that's right. I hear it says an hour later.
Yeah, it's a slight delay.
That's how it works.
So it's in real life, old man. Yes, that Cold. You know what? We missed Cold, and he comes in.
There he is. Yeah.
And he hammers me in real life, old man. Thanks, Cold. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. You know what I mean?
We need him on the show for the draft special.
That's why, you know what? Cold we might have to give Cold his own show. Because the stuff he says is hysterical. And by the way, props to Cold. Make sure you go out and you follow Real Cold G. He is definitely a blast to have, not only on the show, but he went out and bought his own rush gear, and he was in the gym, and he was rocking it in the gym, took a couple photos of it. So he was wearing this shirt because we got all new merchant. Check it out.
Badass.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know what the best part of that was? Real Cold G's in really good shape. So it's like, hell yeah, he's repping us and making us look good because this guy looks good, He
looks like a ball player. He looks like you sign him up. That's what we said. Sign him right up.
Yep. Yeah. I bet you he can play better than Crowder. But yeah.
You are making on the
Craig,
guy.
let it go. Jeez, please. He's gone. Let it go.
Sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Folks, 2023 training camp. Craig's going to bring up Crowder's name, I guarantee. Next summer, we're going to hear it.
You're on your deathbed, and you're going to just tell your kids, Crowder. Let's give you a
Mark
last
Thompson's
word.
going to have to talk you off the ledge.
True. It's true. It's all true. It's all true. All right, let's keep rocking, guys. Let's get into something I near and dear to me as a defensive guy is Wink's blitz percentage. If you were watching the game at all, they showed the NFL top defensive coordinators. Wink has a 42% blitz package going, percentage of plays that is called. 42% of the time he is bringing a blitz or a stunt, whether it's he's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever he's doing, safeties, corners, he's bringing it and it's working, especially when and I think someone in the chat asked me about Ojulari. I haven't got any updates on Ojulari. Where is it? Ojulari had an ankle that, I reported he went down with during the game. Looking for someone in here, asked me about Ojulari. Ojulari has made a significant change in how Tibbs plays. So when Ojulari is in there, this guy's got 5.5 sacks and he's only played 4 games all year. I mean, when Ojulari's in there, he's going to average. And I, of course, I'm wrong because he got hurt, but I went out saying the guy was going to have 11.5, 12.5 sacks because he averages a sack a game, a half a sack a game. So it's not vital that he's there to win, but it sure makes it a whole lot easier because Tibbs now gets one-on-one. Chris, do you agree, with that statement that, yes, it's a whole hell of a lot better with Ojulari, but if he's not there, Wink's packages are still going to get there?
Oh yeah, because now you have 2 off the edge on each side. Pick your poison, so to speak, with both these guys. So I think it just puts more pressure on the offense and allows Wink to just do more creative creative blitzes, creative packages, because he has two athletic guys on both sides to work with. So I absolutely.
Do you get concerned sometimes where he's blitz happy and then like they're going to get caught?
So, when I look at his defense, it's very different than what we had last year with Graham, right? With Graham, it was bend, don't break. So a lot of times we had the two safeties back and we were giving up big plays, but then we get to the red zone, it's a big crunch. Here with Wink, I mean, when these blitzes come through, we're making big stops and far before the 50-yard line, right? Obviously, though, when things go wrong, kind of like that Eagles game a couple weeks ago, we give up big plays. I think Wink, I don't mind blitzing. I love getting to the quarterback. I feel like you ultimately have to do that in this day and age. But what I want is for them to kind of get back to what it was in 07. I mean, this is a talent thing, of course, where you're really just relying on those four guys to get to the quarterback and they can get it done alone. Because the one issue that I have is, there's certain times where it doesn't work with Wink's strategy, especially on that last play of the game against the Vikings, where they got, for however many yards that was against us, that set them up for that 61-yard field goal. If they had a little bit more of a zone strategy and a less aggressive strategy on defense, odds are they would not have been set up for the field goal. So yeah, I love blitzing over not blitzing, but there's times to call it and times when not to call it. And that was an example of when you shouldn't have called the blitz.
I'm going to call on, I love it. I actually like having coached some football this year and being the defense coordinator here in town. I do a lot of stunts. C gap, A gap, D gap. Like I do a lot because I think
bounties on these 12-year-olds too, don't you? If I'm not mistaken, isn't that
what's that, Mike?
Bounties?
No bounties. No bounties.
You gotta motivate the kids. Who wants an Xbox 360?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, who wants a new Xbox One? All right, let's go. Knock that kid out. No, there are no bounties in 8th grade. But having been a defensive player, be on the defensive side, even coaching, I like the fact that you can make people uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I like the fact that that they're not used to seeing something and all of a sudden there's guys in their face and, it makes a difference, right? It just makes a difference. Or sometimes, hey, look, my favorite thing in the world is blitzing something that you think's going to happen and you guess right and the guy's in the right gap at the right time, tackle for a loss. Great job. Wink's a smart guy. Spends a lot of time watching film and the defensive crew watching it. So I'm with you guys. I love it. Yes, you do get caught, like you mentioned, Spartan. You can get caught. But I love the fact that, it's not the Black Picasso. It's not the bend, don't break. It's not the like, hey, I'm going to rush 2 and put 9 DBs back here. Like, I love the fact that he's just sending guys, stunt. So I love all that. I'm going to run an audible here, gentlemen, because our good friend Allison has a good question that I did not put in the show notes. Chris, I'm going to put this up here for you because I know you love the offensive line guys. Let me put her comment up on here. Allison wants to know, tell me about Evan Neal and where he's at. Run with that. I'm assuming he's fairly still healthy, but his play has sucked.
Yeah, no, it's a good question by Allison because he had a rough game on
very bad
Saturday.
Not just this week.
Yeah, he's been at a rough game. So I'm wondering with that knee injury that put him on the shelf for a while, is that still lingering? Is that giving him a problem now? They don't try to advertise these injuries so they can, go for it on these other players know what's ailing these players sometimes, something they'll keep quiet. So I don't know. You do see that he's slow out of his stance, and that was a knock of him coming out of college, is that he's a top lineman, but he is a little slow, you'll notice, coming out of his stance. So maybe a combination of that, plus the rookie woes, long season, getting off a knee injury. I think there's a lot of variables in place with him, and it almost reminds me a little bit of what Andrew Thomas went through, right? Andrew Thomas had a lot of peaks and valleys his rookie year, and I think Evan Neal is probably having a little bit even tougher time than what Thomas went through. So let's just, get through these games and get to the playoffs, and hopefully he improves. But I think, I think getting out of his stance, he's been slow and he's getting beat. But, he's a rookie. He'll learn. He'll work on things. He'll be all right.
Yeah, he's definitely, again, there is a large curve, for tackles. We don't usually highlight that very often, but if you really want to dissect a tackle, you have to look at the competition they play against and how many average defensive ends these guys face. They throw guys around like these, you know what I mean? Like even though they're elite defensive ends, when they go against an Alabama tackle, these guys are jokes. And that's really rude. I shouldn't even say that. They're just, I scratch that from the record, Judge. The quality of the defense end at Toledo, you know what I mean? Or Central Michigan, or, Florida Southern, like these guys are all world high school athletes and they're okay college players, but like they don't face great talent. They get to the pros and everybody's good. I mean,
I'll tell you what, Craig, you bring up a good point, because I'm sure when Evan Neal stepped foot on Alabama's campus, he probably didn't have an incredible freshman football year. There's no way he went against those seniors at Alabama that were dominant, first round ready, and had a good game, but they don't start their freshman year, right? And this is a little bit different in the NFL. He has to adjust to the speed of the players and the size of the players, because that's a big difference. And I promise you that he will. It's just that it's his rookie year, and it does take time to adjust. Chris, you brought it up. The footwork is the one thing that is most important for him to work on, but that's something that's totally fixable.
Yeah, and I'll tell you always hear these players going into their second and third year. They don't have to think anymore, right? You think the first year, there's so much stuff being thrown at them, especially with stunts and twists. They're thinking more than going on their athletic ability. So you figure next year, you want them to just play without thinking too much, and the game slows down, right? You always hear that with these guys in the league. The game, and that's what you're going to hear from hopefully next year. Hey, the game is slowing down for me.
It's accurate. It's very, very accurate, though. Like, the game does slow down. You're not like thinking too far ahead. You're not nervous. You're not trying to overcompensate. When the game slows down, meaning that I am okay to do my assignment because it's muscle memory and I am now in control of what I do. I'm not just reaction. When the game slows down, you're not reactionary. Reactionary is not good.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
When you're reactionary, you're usually doing the wrong thing. Okay. Because you're reacting to something that you think you see.
Mentally got to be ahead of the game.
100%. So Neal will get better. Yes, he's probably playing hurt. He's got a sprained MCL, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it could take a year to heal an MCL, the slow way without surgery, right? And which goes into Glowinski not probably having a great year because he's playing with different tackles.
And you know what, Craig? Great point. You win Sunday, you let him rest for those 2 weeks, right? That's another reason why we need to win Sunday. Don't go into that Philly game needing to win. You rest these guys that are banged up a bit after that win on Sunday. So we'll get
So there's a question up there from Blue City Empire Sports.
Hang on, let me grab it. Let me see. At 846?
Yes.
All right, Blue City Empire Sports. Let's see what you got.
Something that we got to get to, I feel like.
Okay. Question is, Mike, do you believe the Adoree Jackson might be back playing against the Colts? Mike, it's addressed to you, my friend, so I'll let you run with that.
So here's my thinking. If he's hurt to the point where, it's not safe for him, like, period, like it's not even like it just hurts, like it's going to cause injury, then no. If it's a situation where his injury is causing him pain to the point where he's not better than his current backup right now, then no. If it's at a point where he's, it might be a little hurt, it won't cause serious injury, and he can still play better than his backup, then yes. This is all hands on deck right now for the Colts. We have to give everything that we possibly can from the Giants in order to win. I know the Colts are not a good team. They do have a good defense, though, and we're not scoring a lot of points on offense. The Giants need everything they can to, win this game, clinch the playoffs. This is it. And then the week after that, everybody should rest. I don't care if we beat the Eagles. I would rather get the 7th seed and play Minnesota than play the 49ers.
Yeah, and I think, as you just saw, we match up pretty good against the Vikings. I don't have high expectations, though, Spart, and I'll tell you this. Like, getting to the playoffs is like a mirage in the desert.
Oh.
Getting
I
there.
don't care if we lost a playoff game. I don't care. We got there.
Exactly. And that's what people have to understand. Like, some of you folks are like hard to figure out. Like, you're never really happy. This team has sucked for a decade.
There's still fans that want to tank for a pick. There's still fans that want to lose out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris, Allie said no, she wants a game. Allie lives in the Bay Area. She will not get a game if they play Minnesota. I understand that, Allie, but I don't want to play the 49ers right now.
No, not with that defense. Listen, the San Francisco 49ers are number 1 against the run. They will shut down Barkley, and they'll keep him under 50 yards, and then guess what you get? Nothing.
We'll probably get goose-egged in that one. I'll tell you what, though. I think the 49ers could beat the Eagles.
I don't know, dude. Without Garoppolo, you got kind of a kind of flux at QB. I don't know. Maybe.
Kids going
not
down.
Not that I love Garoppolo. I'm just making a point that, you can't expect a guy your second string to come in and not miss something. But great question about Neal, and it's worth talking about. He will get better, right? He will get better over time. Bosa and Warner won't be good to us. No, Bosa's not good to anybody, for the record. Like, if you can look back and say, man, just give me one Bosa brother. I mean, it's like, man, how close to Justin Tuck can that cat be? You know what I mean? It's crazy. All right, let's keep cruising through this. What's good, Jen? What's up, R0? I haven't seen you in here in a while, so glad you're back. Let's talk about, I thought they did really well against Minnesota, but we need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's a combo kind of a thing here, guys, is Colts. Let's talk Colts. Let's talk about playoffs, right? So, Chris, I'm going to start with you. Here's my quick evaluation is, as I said earlier today, the Colts defense is ranked 15th. They're middle of the pack, but that's better than the Giants. And that defense took the sniper of Herbert, that gunslinger that he has, shut him down to 253 yards with a 35 QBR. That's really doing some hefty lifting, against a really good QB that we all know right here. I'm telling you, you're all lying if you haven't thought at one time you'd rather have Herbert than Jones. You've all thought it at least one time, and that kid got shut down versus the Colts defense. And then Eckler, we know, who's a fantastic back for the Bolts, also got shut down like 3.2 yards per carry. What does that defense, Chris, look like? Because as much as I'm excited about the momentum the Giants are building, Commanders and Vikings, should we be worried about this defense?
Yeah, you definitely got to be concerned. Stephon Gilmore, hell of a cornerback. He was the best in the league a few years ago, and against our receivers, he's gonna play well. DeForest Buckner on the defensive line. There's no Darius Leonard, right? He's out for the year. But I think they're going to sell out to stop the run. They're going to look. They know our receivers and what we're working with, and they're going to want to see the receivers beat that secondary. And I think they're going to sell out, kind of like what they did last night. Zach Moss only had 66. He had 66 yards for the Colts. We'll see him on the other side. But they stopped Eckler pretty well. They did a decent job, right? I think they're going to sell out to the running game. And you're going to see, you might see a fake punt, fake field goal. They have nothing to lose. They're going to pull out all the stops, but they're going to sell out to stop the run.
That's good. That was actually a very good breakdown. Good takes. Thank you. I'm going to digress for a second here because Nikki Six jumped in here because she misses us so much, with the holiday break and all. And she's firing out stuff. And she said, one, that Jimmy G is handsome. Yes, we know Jimmy G is handsome. Thank you, Nikki. But she also comes with football. And, of course, she says that the debate on Twitter today was KG the worst free agent signing in history. And it has, like, Spartan, it is definitely a top 5, top 3. Like, I mean, because LeVar Arrington's up there, Solder's up there. What do you think on this, Spartan? Like, I know it's a little off topic, but
here's my thing. I mean, Nate Solder just continuously pissed me off, and I felt bad because he was obviously in a bad situation with his family. I don't even really want to get into that, but my problem with Solder is that they kept trying him for 4 years. They kept trying him at that tackle spot. And, I mean, he was awful. He wasn't even serviceable, and that was $85 million. But make no mistake about it, I mean, Kenny Galladay is just as bad. He's doing absolutely nothing. Like, they're not even bringing average value. They're bringing negative value. There's no impact of them on the team. So I'm going to stick with Soldier just because, I mean, that was 4 years right there. And then Kenny Galladay, I mean, you know, it's very close second. I don't even know how I would do a tiebreaker.
Chris, you and I being the elder statement in the room,
Yeah.
like I'm thinking about guys like LeVar Arrington,
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall, you know, John Beeson.
Yeah.
You know,
well, when you look at Brandon Marshall, that was the end of his career. LeVar Arrington was actually playing well until he blew out his knee, right? So that was that against Dallas, that Monday night game. But Galladay, this was the guy. When they picked him up in the offseason that year.
We were dancing in the streets.
Oh, he's a Pro Bowler. So, I mean, we thought we were getting a Pro Bowl.
Oh, my God, he sucks.
Yeah. So this has got to be the most mind-boggling, like confusing, mysterious, high-end free agent I've ever seen.
He contributes nothing. Like
somebody argued the other day an anti-Jones rant and saying that, well, look, we brought Kenny Galladay over and he's not getting any elevation from Jones. It's like, no, you know the difference between not getting elevation and not being good because he's not even out on the field. He's not on the field. He's getting beat up by Richie James right now.
I hope Brian Dable and these guys win a Super Bowl and then they all write a book. And I want a chapter about Kenny Galladay. Yes. I want to step by step, line by line, how this all went down. Captain Dave will have to write a book at some point.
Yes, because we all know there is a ton of backstory going on because Hodgins came in here. Chris, how do I pronounce it? Hodgins?
I thought it's Hodgins, but maybe
Hodgins. Hodgins in 5 games has done more than this cat in 2 years. He's not in the field. He's a powder. He's miserable. And then like you'd see him in the offseason throwing with Jones. They'd be at what the heck? There's got to be. He has got to have done something, said something that they refuse to give this guy a chance.
He had off-season hip surgery. I mean, is it that bad where he's lost that much of a step? He can't even get on the field.
Could be, but it could also be a combination of maybe lost motivation after signing the contract. Not everybody does that. There's a lot of players that sign the contract and deliver, but in the day, we're in a business here, and I mean, if you work yourself up to get a big fat contract like that, unfortunately, I mean, you have the opportunity to just take.
But you know what, Mike? By all accounts, when he's been on the field and he had a block, they're saying that he puts a lot of effort in and he actually tries out there, but it doesn't look like maybe practice. He's dogged it in the summer, but when he's been out there, he actually looks like he plays hard. They say so. I mean, when they say the beat writers that see him up close, but yeah, this is just a strange situation.
It's just that when you're paying receiver that much, he can't just be blocking. He's got to be delivering touchdowns. I mean, at least 10 every season, and here we are just with nothing.
This needs to be brought up here. Of course, Nicky Jimmy G does not have my hair. Nobody does. Please. Nobody does. Yes, we miss you too. I don't know. Like, to me, Galladay might be the worst. I mean, it really does. It's just bad on every angle. Like, he contributes like he should just go out there and get a penalty because then you can contribute to the other team. You know what I mean?
Like snaps. He's not even getting snaps now, which is
not even snaps. So we've totally gone off the rails there, which was I was not expecting to. Spartan, talk to me about the Colts. What are the keys to the game here? Chris has kind of outlined a little bit on the defensive side and the players they have. It looks like Foles is going to start. Talk to me about a little bit the Colts on offense.
On offense, I mean, they have the 31st ranked offense, and I mean, they looked absolutely abysmal the past night. Foles looks completely out of sorts compared to what he used to look like with the Philadelphia Eagles. I am not too worried about the Colts on offense. If I were Wink, I'd probably lay off the blitzing just a little bit, maybe just one player here and there, so we have an extra guy in zone coverage. Because what I don't want is we'll get to the quarterback. I have no worries about that. Their offensive line's playing terribly. Even Quentin Nelson is not having a good year right now. But what we don't want is any, blown coverage, mistake that leads to some, 80-yard touchdown. That's what I'm most worried about is if we're blitzing heavy and we only have man coverage on one of those wide receivers, that they're going to take it to the house. That's what I'm most concerned about. For us, look, the Giants have consistently scored about 20 points, no matter who they're playing. 20, 24, somewhere in that range. They just got to bring exactly that this week. 20 to 24 points. If they want to score more, be my guest. I don't expect it. And then, defense, got to get to the quarterback, but be very careful about letting up any potential big plays. We also can't afford more than one turnover. And if that turnover happens, it's got to be on the other side of the 50. It can't be in our territory.
I'd like to, and that's great take. I love it, Spartan. You guys both rock that because, there is some people just taking this nonchalant. Yeah, we're going to kill the Colts. Like, it doesn't just, in the NFL, you can lose any day. But I do want to bring something up that we haven't talked about, and that's the evolution of the offense. I think, Kafka, has been a slow starter. Okay. He does not seem to want to take a lot of chances. People are all over, Jones for his deep ball. Like, they're not allowing him to throw the deep ball. But what I noticed this week, better late than never, what I saw this week was quick slants. Hodgins had a bunch of quick slants, in the middle of the field. And believe it or not, he gave Patrick Peterson a run for his money. Patrick Peterson was talking crap the whole game to Hodgins. And if you're some cast off from Buffalo who's coming in making plays, that must make you feel pretty damn good that you're making
this Hall of
Patrick
Famer
Peterson sweat.
Smack right now.
100%. So again, I think a little bit of this team that no one gives them credit for is that the offense is almost being held back. Not in a bad way, but they're being held back because they're pacing themselves with the talent they have. They're not trying to do things they're not good at, right? They're not trying to say, oh, we can slugfest with these guys because we can't.
No.
They're not, you know what I mean? So I think
they gotta stop doing screenplays. Just stop doing screensplays. This is not working for us.
No. We haven't been able to run the screen since Tiki Barber. But there is something to say that Kafka's just slowly feeding the offense,
a little bit more. Everybody's improving slowly and surely, right? Our receivers are getting a little bit better. We give them a little bit more room to be able to.
So and
the passes are going past the 10-yard mark too. I love that.
100%. I mean, listen, let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, we saw it in there. Richie James, Jones in the huddle. We saw it live. Jones in the huddle, getting in Richie James's face, about running certain routes. And Jones just sticking it on him and sticking it on him and sticking it on him. Like, and literally at one point they broke it down like we were running nothing but curls. And he's like, run the out. I'm hearing it from the booth. Run the out. And then Richie James does not run the curl and runs the out. And he puts a stick on him right there for the first down. Like, Jones was throwing lasers in on the sideline. Like Jones was hot. You know what I mean? Like he was what we wanted him to be. But again, the offense is like it's getting an IV drip. It's like a little bit. Then he comes up and bang, he hits you on a deep ball, and you're like, yes. And then you don't see it again. It's like Houdini. You know what I mean?
There were a lot though this past week. There were a lot of good deep balls there that got us over the 40-yard line. But as I said earlier, the frustrating thing is that we're settling for field goals, not getting touchdowns, and that fell on penalties. It fell on wide receivers dropping the ball, and in my opinion, fell on a couple of play sequencing problems with Kafka. He's got to work.
Yep, but so there is an evolution to the audience, the offense. So okay, guys, let's do a little quick. Mondays, guys. It's Rush Hour with Nikki Sixx. Make sure you tune in. Spartan down there is the producer. Make sure you tune in on Monday. They're talking sports gambling. They're talking fantasy. They're talking around the NFL. We're working on some guests. That's our new show. We are expanding. We are growing. We are potentially adding on a Jets show. Yes, folks. Breaking news. I just dropped an exclusive on you. We are thinking about in the new year adding a Jets show on. So for all your
draft show real quick.
Draft show, of course, is our bread and butter. Outside the kick-ass interviews that we do, our draft show, what we do is we give each one of our panelists, analysts, whatever you want to call them, they all get to invite 20 people to the show. So we do 4 hours, each night, and everybody gets on live to talk about what they think of the pick and what's coming up. So you definitely want to be part of that. Rush Hour on Monday. Draft show with Spartan, Mike, and The Truth. Okay? They do their thing where they start breaking down players, because if you guys don't know, just look up The Truth, because the dude is already analyzing the third string offensive guard for Texas A&M. Okay, he knows exactly who is who, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but the truth is the truth.
Yeah, so many players in last year's draft that he was high on go to the Ravens. And if you get drafted by the Ravens, you automatically go to the Hall of Fame. We know how that works. So do listen to them.
Hey, Greg, Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. So there's a little
Yeah.
housekeeping. As I showed you the shirt, okay, the store is open. You go to NY Giants Rush and you can buy hoodies, phone cases, mugs, whatever you're into. This is the new logo, folks. In case you don't know it, this is called King Rush Evolution. This is the new logo. You can see right on there. It says it's Evolution on there. All right, so they have them in all sorts of, I don't know, for you ladies, they got the Razorbacks, they got all sorts of crazy stuff.
Craig,
yeah.
they're coming at you with torches. Explain about the Jets thing. It's not us. It's going to be possibly somebody else doing a Jets.
Oh, yeah, settle down,
You don't have to show up, people.
They're coming
just
at
want
us.
to penetrate the New York market a little
Yes,
bit.
yes. Settle down, Beavis. We're going to create NY Jets Rush. And there'll just be a show for the Jets people. We are still here. Nothing's changing, people.
Nothing.
You'll still have my ugly mug and Spartan and Chris and Zane and the Truth and Nikki Six. We're still doing Giants. Everybody settle down. No torches. No, none of that stuff.
We don't have a Wednesday night segment where all of us flip our, Giants crap into Jets and sit here and pretend that we've been Jets fans this whole time.
That's right. We're not MetLife Stadium. We don't flip the lights different colors,
No,
Yeah, right.
no. I'm just trying to grow the Rush platform so we do some other stuff. So we're in talks with a gentleman who is a Jets junkie. So if you have any relatives that are Jets junkies, we'll be able to turn that on. Look, I'm giving you some new stuff. Yeah. I'm giving you stuff. We're doing
all sorts of media on top of this, right, Craig? We're gonna go crabbing in the New York Bay right now, every Saturday, right? We're gonna go crabbing and whatnot. We're gonna have the Deadliest Catch edition. We're gonna have a political talk show. We're gonna have a version of The View. We have the Rush View. That's what it's gonna be called.
So,
what do you say, Craig?
Spartan he's a burger short of a Happy Meal, and and that's why we love him. Nothing's changing here. Rush hour on Monday, Giants guys on Tuesday, all of us and our charming personalities all week long. Nothing there changes. I am looking for a producer. Anyone that wants to get involved, I need a producer for Nikki Six's Rush Hour show. So Spartan doesn't have to do it all the time. We could use, look at right here. We're talking. If I had a producer, he would be reading through all your thousands of comments on how can I start a Jet show? Sounds horrible. What's wrong with me? All that stuff. Like if I had a good producer, I need a producer, someone who wants to cut in their teeth on the business. Bring it. We need a good producer.
We need a fan boat to do this crabbing.
Yes, he's still on the list. No boats. Boats are bad. Odell
media
and
platform, Craig. We need an HBO. We need an HBO special. We have to have like after hour special for the New York Giants Rush.
Look, I got the hair for any kind of show.
There we go. We're gonna have a TMZ. We're gonna have a TMZ segment. We'll just figure out where one of us is at that night, and then interview them or whatever.
What do you call it? All good stuff. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Listen, Chris, give it to me. Let's end on this. You want to go? I usually don't do this. It's kind of not in my nature to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because it just feels right. What's your score prediction? What kind of game do you see this being?
I'm going to go Giants 26, Colts 20.
Okay, there's some field goals in there.
A couple field goals in there and a couple scores. Yeah.
Yep. I got a cold chill down my back, but I like it. Go ahead.
It's never easy for the Giants. We know that. Every game's a tough one.
Spartan, are you feeling like a Kenny Golladay touchdown in this game or something?
Giants 24, Colts 12. We're gonna hold the Colts on offense.
I'd like to see that. I'll go with you. Yeah.
All right. Again, this is you guys know me. I don't do this. I just don't do it. But I'm gonna do it because you guys deserve it.
And it's a big week. You have to do it.
Are you ready? Buckle it up. Giants 21, Colts 20.
Ooh, tight one.
Wow. The nail biter at the end, huh?
Because that's what we are.
Yeah. Right. So, Craig, real quick, set us up. What happens at the end? Let's say a minute left. What's happening? Do we take the lead? Do they miss a field goal? How does this end up 21-20 with a minute left?
Oh yeah, we're ahead and we're just holding on, and then maybe we stop a 2-point conversion.
Oh God, that's really rough. Okay.
Oh no, Wisconsin. We can go old school, like LT picks a pass off Detroit, 97-yard touchdown return for Tibbs.
That would be awesome.
All right, so guys, any last words? You want to squeeze it in now? Appreciate all you guys. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, Smooth jumped in here. Thanks, Mark, for stopping in. Tuto, Jay,
Thank you, guys.
of course, Mark, Ali.
Thank you.
Sorry for the late showing up, by the way. Thanks for the swag. Put that up there. No problem, Brad. Thanks for jumping in.
No, I'm not on drugs, everybody. I'm okay. I was just trying to throw out some ideas for expanding the platform.
Yes. There's no boats. None of that is happening. We will be at the game if you guys want to hook up with us. At the cage where Chris sets up his. I'm at L2, but I'm going to roll over and hang out with those guys.
Yep, at J19, Mike will be stopping by, so that'll be great.
Yep.
I was just saying it the whole time. If that was all right, Chris, we'll bring our own stuff, but we don't have any the game.
Sergeant Mayhem,
you just show up, Mike. You just show up, you and Dad.
All right.
I need two things for you people. One is I know all you guys are already subscribed to the YouTube channel, but if you know someone that hasn't, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us out. I am like 100 away from giving this away. Look, it is a signed Otis Anderson jersey. Right there's the signatures. Whoop. Okay, I got it right here in the left. I know Sergeant Mayhem's been begging me to give this to him for weeks now. So I want to give that away. Once we get to 900 subs, which we're close, I'm just going to pull a random person. It's not 900 that's going to win. I'm going to pull a random person from the 900. The store is open. Anyone who I owed a prize pack to, I sent out like 6 or 7 prize packs this week, so something cool may show up at your house. And, of course, don't forget the sponsor, Astroflave. And I think, the Giants will be heading to the playoff for the first time, since 16. So I'm feeling good. You're listening to another episode of the Giants Guys, brought to you by Astroflave. Bang. Thanks for being part of the crew. Peace out.
Thanks, everybody.
Later.